my sister has a crisis. I'm talking 18, 19. She was not a baby. My uncle will put her on a bike. He will sit behind and it was routine. It might begin in the village, which is Numan, where we're from, before we get to Yola, where we used to live. Oh, God, please. Okay. No. I can remember. These memories have stuck. And before you know it, she's wailing. Just so these tears can go back. When it was time to marry, I told my husband, check your genotype. I think he checked almost like 3 times. Because I said, it ain't gonna happen.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Repeat. Yes.
It won't make sense. Love doesn't have the power. Yes. I'm sorry, love is powerful. And there's something so profound that a friend of mine told me. She said, we were talking, this was even before marriage and I was serving at the time. And we're talking about genotype, sickle cell. And she said, we're saying a lot of people get into marriage and they're hoping for a miracle. And she said something I will never forget. I was not married then. She said, the miracle you're believing God for when you get married, believe him for it before you marry. It's the same miracle now. But pray for the miracle before you get married, not after you have gotten married. And then you bring children into the world. And and welcome to another edition of The Balance, where we see life from our different perspectives. My name is Ambassador Jessie, and as you know, I am your host. Today, we're speaking about something that I think we do not speak enough about. Well, that's pretty much what we do on The Balance, isn't it? Speak about the things that we do not readily like to talk about. And we are talking sickle cell anemia. This is very special to my heart because I have witnessed siblings who have had to live with this situation. I'm short of calling it a disease, but it's this situation, and eventually passed. I've had 3 sisters that I've lost to sickle cell anemia. And of course, along life and living, I've been able to make a couple of friends who also live with this condition. Today, I have 2 of those friends in the studio, and we are going to be talking about what it takes to live as a sickler, which is what I grew up on. I'm sure that's how it's still called. They'll confirm that. But, you know, to just live with it and speak about certain things that are the traits and things you cannot avoid. Just so also other warriors, which is a name that I adore, that they call themselves, are able to see that they are not alone in their struggle and other people are experiencing the same things that they are and are winning just like they are. So this is to encourage warriors living with sickle cell anemia and to also let the others, who would be us, know exactly what it takes to live in this condition and create a more empathy and awareness around it and how we can be better supporters or a better support system for the people who are dealing with this. So quickly to my introductions. I have got Judith Matthew. Judith is my friend from social media. How we bumped into each other, I do not know. But like I said, because I've lost 3 sisters to sickle cell anemia, I am drawn to people who live with the condition. It's just easy for me to just tilt. I'm very empathetic towards it, you know, because I'm a witness. I might not have experienced it, but I've witnessed it. And so I met Judith on social media. She's called the Sickled Motivator on Instagram and on social media platforms. I'll let you do this introduction, Judith. Why am I stressing? But anyway, she's a sickle cell warrior and a motivational advocate. That's the word I'm looking for. A sickle cell advocate and a health advocate, social media content creator, blah, blah, blah. She'll tell us the rest. But hi, sweetheart. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
So amazing.
So do you, as always.
Thank you.
Giving us, in quotes, back to back on social media, and great work that you do. What did I leave out of my introduction, I beg?
You said everything, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And she's beautiful. A sign that when you see warriors, you truly don't know who is one.
That's true.
I must tell you. Then we also have Jenkins, a dude. He's a fashion designer and stylist, and hopefully you get into styling me after this, you know? But yeah, we have Jenkins, aka JK. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. My pleasure.
I'll ask you the same question. Did I leave anything out of this introduction?
No, not really.
Yes. Okay. We're good.
We're good.
So we're going to jump right into it, right? And I'll begin with Judith. I've seen you advocate a lot for people, and every now and then you also share. The good part is I know I'm going to get to share my experience with my siblings. I mean, this is conversational. Forget all these formality of hello and welcome. We will get into the crux of the matter. How did you discover, or how did your parents discover? So we're going to, oh God, this is going to get pretty sensitive, but because we're going to touch on the parents, but let me not jump the gun. At what age was it discovered that you were sickler?
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I discovered that I was sickle cell, or that I had sickle cell from 6 months, and I started having sickle cell pain as at that time.
Wow. So your parents discovered that, because wait till you know at 6 months, but
I didn't know anything anyways.
But you started
then at
manifesting
6 months, I started
symptoms.
having crisis. That's what we term it as. So I started having crisis from 6 months. So, and 6 months till now, I still have the crisis.
So I know a bit of your history, that you also had a sister.
Yes.
Who was sickled.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she didn't get
passed.
to.
Yes.
And, you know, with you, we've shared stories around, I don't know if I should hit on, like, we should get into this. I hope it's not too early to pull on the emotions, but let me ask JK first and then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
At what age did you discover that you were, or did your parents discover that you were sick?
I think they discovered when I was like 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they know anything about it before then?
No, they didn't.
Are you the only sickler?
Yeah. It's just 2 kids, just me and my sister. So I'm the only warrior.
You're the only warrior.
Yeah.
Sickler, warrior. Thank you. Let me switch to warrior. I'm used to sickler. That's all I knew.
Yeah, I'm the only one in the family. So
oh wow.
It was at that age they knew.
Like 2?
Yeah, 2. I think I was sick and they took me to the hospital.
Check your genes.
Yeah.
Another thing we didn't do is maybe, because I'm assuming that a couple of us already know what sickle cell is about. Judith would give that, she has the terms and all, but just break it down really. What are we even talking about when we see people are sickled or live with sickle cell anemia? What's the condition?
Okay, let me just break it down in a layman term. Sickle cell disease is actually a disease.
I'm avoiding. They say I should call it disease. I refuse. I say I'm not going to call that disease. But anyway, go ahead.
But let's just
it is what it is, right? Yeah, it is what it is.
Sickle cell disease or sickle cell disorder happens when an AS genotype person and another AS genotype person come together. And in this case, couples, when they come together to give birth, then they give birth to what we call sickle cell child. Yeah. And what this is, the total body, like a sickle cell person has like total body pain ranging from a vaso-occlusive crisis to a hemolytic crisis and so on.
Yeah, she's getting into the terms now. We'll soon lost. But anyway, we get it.
We have different types of crises, as I just mentioned. And this crisis is life-threatening, so to say. Yes. So I don't think that anyone would want that for their offspring or their child.
I tell you.
Sickle cell disease is life-threatening. Yes.
Thank you so much. You were discovered at 6 months. I remember that when I lost my She was the fourth sibling, like fourth born, but she was the third to pass out of my siblings who had sickle cell. So we were born 7. We were 5 girls and 2 boys. We lost 3 girls to sickle cell. So we're now 2 boys,
And
2
2
girls.
girls.
Yes. And the first was our third. When she passed, I was not even born. Like, I mean, I'm the 7th in this whole chain of numbers.
Oh, you're the last one.
I'm the last, yes.
Okay.
So when she passed, they say she was somewhere around, I think 3. Richarda, I know her name. Then there was Ekaite. Ekaite was my immediate older sister. She passed at 10. So she was 10. I was somewhere around 6, I think. Or 4. She was either 6 to 4 years, I don't remember, older than me. So she passed as a child. Then this one that I speak about passed at 21. So she was in university, going on 300 level. She was the longest. She stayed.
Yeah.
And I mean, she passed in 98. So it was a time when I didn't even know anything about vaccines, supplements, medication, at that time. And I remember that at her funeral, my dad mentioned that they discovered that she was a sickle at 8 months. So she had a crisis at 8 months. They took her to the hospital, and discovered that she was sickle.
Yeah.
You know, so just, because I know that I asked, how did you find out? When did you discover?
Yes.
And one thing I've noticed with people with, I don't know about, okay, so of course I've known Judith longer. I see her energy. I saw my sister, they're energetic. They are so energetic, but they have the limitation of life not to be able to express freely. I don't know how you people do it, but I'm going to ask, thank God you're here. There's so much to talk about, but how have you been able to live with, I mean, we know your age because you've told us on social media, but this is 29 or 30?
30.
30, right?
Yeah.
How have you been able to live the years? Still be happy, still be cheerful, still show up, experience what you're experiencing, and just still be hopeful.
Okay. First off, I would owe it to God.
Amen.
God is the source of all our strength, source of my joy. And then secondly, I would owe it to my late sister. Because I remember vividly that there was this day that I was a child. She passed when she was 13. But before she passed, there was this day she was having a vaso-occlusive crisis.
What does that mean?
Just like I mentioned.
Like the joint pains?
Yes.
That's the one we know, we're familiar with.
And it has to do with the total body.
Yeah.
And when there's a vaso-occlusive crisis in the body, this pain tends to move. Now it can be on your hand. Next minute it's on your stomach. Like it just keeps on moving. Like it just moves around the body and it is painful, terrible. Like excruciating.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 3, 4.
Wow.
Yes. So, and like I said, she passed when she was 13. But then I remember vividly that on this day, they called my parents from school because we were all going to the same school. Me, my elder sister, the one I'm following, and then her. We all go to the same school. Then I was born in the north. So, you know, this northern time, but it's even in the olden
days,
19, olden days, because not in the 21st century now. So, but then they didn't really know what sickle cell is. They just knew that from time to time, this girl was always complaining that her leg is paining her hand is paining her, or her stomach. So, but it became a frequent thing. So on this day, they thought it was just like the normal, like, yes, she used to have pain, but this one was quite different because she kept on complaining, like it's everywhere, her body is on fire and all that. So they had to reach out to my parents, and then they came, they took her to the hospital, and she spent weeks.
Wow.
Weeks in the hospital. And I remember that I was like going to the hospital to check up on my sister, of course, with my parents.
Family,
then,
yes, of course.
Family. And she knew I was sickle cell, but I didn't know because my parents didn't tell me. I just knew that I was having
There was something.
crisis, yes, but I didn't know the name. I didn't know it was sickle cell, but she knew because she was
Had
like, she was always
experienced it.
frequenting the hospital, and then
Right.
she knew. But she also knew that I was, same thing with her. And then she held my hand that day, and then she was just mumbling something. But part of what I could hear her say then was like, she was trying to, me as an adult now, I'm trying to like
Yeah.
make up
Make
for
sense
what,
of
make
what
it make sense of what she
Mm.
said. She was like, I think she said, if for anything, just leave. Yes, that's what she was saying. Like, if for anything,
Wow.
just leave. Because that is it.
Mm.
She tried. She tried. She put in her best. She was the smartest in class. No.
Goodness.
My sister was brilliant. When you say who is the top person
Yeah.
acing the class,
Yeah.
it's my sister. Her name is Jane.
Oh.
Jane was always at the top, but then she had a limitation. She had a weakness, which is sickle cell. But she made it up she made everything up by being smart, brilliant, knowledgeable. Like, you could always go to, as if you were her classmate then, you could always like go to her because she had the answers to almost like
Literally.
everything. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then she was weak.
She was sickled.
She was sickled. She couldn't do much. And then fast forward to now.
Yes.
I lost my mom when I was 10 years old. I also remember that my mom, before she passed, you know how mothers would always pray for their kids, for them to be great, for them to be this and that, for them to fulfill purpose.
Right.
Yes. But she said one thing that struck me one time. She said, "You'd be greater than your sister." So it didn't make sense to me till now.
You say your mom passed when?
When I was 10. That's 2005.
Wow.
Yes. So it didn't make much sense to me up until now.
Wow.
And then I'm trying to like connect the dots, and then I got it. Like, it just made sense to me. So yes, my sister had sickle cell. That's what she was trying to say to me.
And in other words, you were going to live longer, do better than your sister did.
Greater works than my sister, because she passed when she was 13. And then here am I, I'm 30.
Do you get it? Well, indeed. And that's answered prayer. So how have you been able to cope? You know, aside God's grace, your sister, and the foundation you've got in your mother, as an individual, because I don't think it exactly takes out the challenges that you experience living with it. How have you been able to deal?
That question is rather dicey because we live in Nigeria, of course, and you know how it is for one to live in Nigeria and then also having sickle cell. It's not been easy with the whole, how would I put it? Like, having sickle cell, living in Nigeria, and also as a person.
Yeah.
How have I been coping? I would say, I think it's because I just have a positive mindset towards life. I think that's one thing that has kept me going, because seeing how my sister passed, she was always in and out of the hospital, always in excruciating pain. I didn't like that life for anyone. And knowing fully well that I also, that's my fate. Like, that's the same fate that I have. And losing the one person that was so dear to me, my mother.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And having to just do life all by myself. I had a father, but I would say my dad was absent because he was always on transfer. I didn't have like a present or a stable
parent,
dad. When I lost my mom. I didn't have him like on ground. I think that's the word. I didn't have him on ground. So it was difficult for me to like adapt or adjust, but I had to tell myself, Judith, just leave. I think that was it. And then I've been pursuing that since when I was 10, that my mom passed, till now that I'm 30.
Wow.
And seeing that I can be better than my sister, according to my mother,
Right.
I started to put in much work. That's why if you check out my videos, I'm not the only sickle cell warrior in Nigeria. I am not. Even
Right.
around the world,
Mhm.
like around the world, I am not the only warrior. But my style of storytelling is unique. My style of storytelling is different.
Mhm.
I try to put myself in the video as I am telling you how to go about being a sickle cell warrior. I am showing you, like, I'm
How?
giving you practical
Yes. I've seen
ways
that. Yeah.
how you can be better, how you can even juggle with your work, with everything. So
And cope.
I think, yes, and how to cope with it. I think that's what has distinguished me from other
Others.
warriors, from others. And I'm a happy child. I'm a happy person. There's
So
nobody
just keeping a
that,
positive mindset,
yes,
really.
yes, nobody
Like
that
that's
has
an edge.
come
Yeah.
across, come around me that doesn't know this, that because my spirit is just contagious. I know
love
this
it.
thing.
Love it. I
know
mean, see, the truth is resilience is what we all, even people we know be warriors.
Yeah.
You just
Resilience,
need it.
you
Yes,
need it
You need it
for life.
You need it.
Because
I think we should add that as a survival skill.
resilience.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
We all is a survival
First
skill,
aid box.
regardless first aid box. On a constant, on standby.
On
Not be say you go
steady.
keep and far.
Nah,
Make it day inside.
No.
JK, how have you been
Present.
able to live with? So when did you come to the place where you realized what this was? And accepted it. I'm saying accept because whether you accept or not, you did there, but do you get what I mean?
I don't think there was ever like a moment
Conversation. Okay.
that I was like, okay, I have to live with this. Like I've never seen it as a challenge, first of all. Yeah, I've never seen it as a challenge.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I've always been positive, always been happy, always been vibey.
Vibey.
So I've always looked at it as something that I cannot run away from. So I just have to just deal with it and, like her sister said, leave. And I always take every day like it's my last day. So
That's amazing.
I always try to find things that will keep me happy and keep my mind off that state so I would not get depressed. Because I hear a lot of warriors say they are depressed, and I can understand, but at the same time, I feel they should not be. It has happened. Find ways to live. Find ways to make yourself happy. Find ways to know how to navigate through sickle cell and still win.
So this is what I hear from what you're saying, and it's very profound. That number one, embrace the situation. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it.
So that's like the first step. Just
except
accept.
A miracle, of course. But before that miracle, embrace that this is your fate, just the way that Judith put it. And also what I hear is, because both of you have spoken about positivity, the positive mindset. And, being a purpose coach, psychologist, counselor, I understand the place of having a positive disposition towards life. And like we're speaking about resilience. This is for everybody, not just warriors. Is that life is challenged regardless. And you need the gift or the tool, in quote, of having a positive attitude and a positive disposition to be able to conquer whatever you go through, And so this is the place to pause, and this is for any warrior who is watching. And I know we'll have final words later, but I think this is very important that they take this away, that you take this away, that number one, embrace that it is not something you can do anything about. It's your fate. It's what you have been born into. It's not something you chose, but it's here. It's the situation. So be determined to be able to live a joyful and happy life regardless.
Very true.
Right? For me, that's what I hear from you people. And I think that that's really profound. That it's a choice still. To either be happy or be sad or decide to be a victim.
That's true.
Abi?
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's great. So earlier we're speaking and you mentioned that you don't have regular crisis,
Yeah,
but you have crisis? Do you?
I
you?
do. I
Okay.
have crisis.
What's
but,
that experience like for you?
So it's not something I would love to experience often. It's excruciating.
Wow.
And sometimes we have no option and we go through
Judith,
life.
you've started. How
We go through life. We go through
we
the
literally
day.
had tissues because of this.
We go through life. We go through the day with this pain sometimes. Like I might be on this show with a crisis right now, and you might not know because I have to be here. I have to go out. I have to do things, and I would not say because I am having a crisis,
Life will not go on.
Yeah, I will not be here right now. I would find ways to come. As far as it's hard, as long as it's hard for someone to do, you just have to try. You know, if you say, okay, today I'm feeling pain, I don't want to go out.
And then this thing made me remember one time that I was being paid to do a job, and on the morning of that day I was supposed to deliver the job, I had a crisis.
Oh my goodness.
And then I was trying to explain to the person that I'm so sorry, I'm having a crisis, but this person was like, hell no, I don't want to hear of it.
So
you
maybe
have to refund me.
Oh my goodness.
And I already spent the money.
I think it's a good time to actually speak. Wow. Yes. Let's speak about the things you people experience in society and how sometimes it can be very limiting. I know it's Judith, if you make me cry on this show, I warned you before now. I'm sorry that, I mean, but let's speak about the things you have to deal with. I remember that you had mentioned, you were talking about someone who had gotten to the peak of an interview, and soon as she mentioned that she was a sickler, they had to drop her.
Yes.
What are the experiences that you have as warriors as it concerns life and living, especially with others, the workspace and stuff? Because you people need money.
Yeah, we do.
We all need money.
Everyone
but today
money.
the focus is for, excuse me?
Sickle cell.
Money is required.
Yeah.
To be able to, is almost like palliative living or survival, So you have to augment. You have to have, capacity. Buy medication, do this, buy the supplements, do that. If you want to advance, I know you had surgery, but when you get to the place of a bone marrow transplant and just making your pain easier, life easier for you. Let's talk about the challenges you face with.
Okay. The challenges
survival.
For sickle cell warriors is enormous. Like it's a lot. But then this particular challenge is rather eating deep, and as it eats deep, it's affecting us. It causes us depression. Some of us have suicidal thoughts. Others are depressed, right? And then there's this time that I shared the story with you, but then I need to share it here.
Yeah.
There was this time a warrior was called for an interview. She aced it pretty well. And just for her to get into the last stage where she would receive maybe the letter or something,
right.
And they got into a discussion, and she had to let them know that she has sickle cell. And there and then they told her that, we're sorry, we can't give you the job because you have sickle cell. But then she aced it. She already even phoned her parents that, oh, I've gotten the job. But
wow.
Just because she mentioned that she was having sickle cell,
there's a
they
stigma.
Told her. And this is happening here in Nigeria and in the 21st century that we live in. Because we can say that all of these things would have happened back then, but not now, because we have several workshops, symposiums, awareness, but it's still happening now. We are being stigmatized for having sickle cell, for something that we do not even know. Our parents caused this. Let's just be realistic. Our parents were ignorant to give birth to us. So we are like the product of their own ignorance or their
something.
own selfish love.
Let's talk
so
about
to say.
that. Sorry, I keep.
Yeah. So we are a product of that. But why are we now bearing the brunt of their own mistake or their own selfish love in quotes? But this matter is a matter that we need to look into. Sickle cell warriors are being stigmatized so hard that they are plunging us into depression. We're committing suicide, and this is a lot for us to take.
Right.
So I feel that people should stop stigmatizing us. People should know that they are stigmatizing us, and they should stop. Workplace, society, there should be an end to this. If they want us to thrive, so to say, yes.
So I'm going to ask also a very, I don't know if it's going to be maybe sensitive. So this is me, looking from the other side. I want to speak from the other end of people who are the employees, because we're talking about work. If it is something that is physically requiring, I think it's only considerate that they do not take, both for their business and for the individual, on these jobs.
Yeah.
Are there certain jobs, and that's to ask, are there certain jobs you feel that are more aligned or easier or more suitable for warriors to do?
Yeah.
Right? JK, you touch on this and I'll come back to our advocate. And the truth is, I understand that can be a difficult question to answer because people are sickled or live with sickle cell doesn't mean that they don't feel like they can be architects and they go over buildings and they stand and they can execute. So that's what I want you people to answer. Tell us, right? Is there everything? Can you do everything, or would it be considerate? In what ways do you feel like the workforce or the workspace can show more consideration for warriors instead of just saying, sorry, you can't work? What are the other measures that can be put in place that makes them more acceptable and makes them more productive in the workplace in a way that is a good balance for the employee and for them as a staff?
Okay, so I understand your question, and this has always been a topic. And I feel warriors, sometimes they are so sensitive that if they do not get the job because they are warriors, they tend to lash out or like cause
they call it
sin.
stigma.
Yes, because they cause a sin and you are stigmatizing and all that. But at the same time, I'm a warrior. I understand where the employer is coming from.
Right.
There are certain jobs that you should not even apply for as a warrior. Because me as a worker or as a boss, if you come for a job, I'm supposed to be on warrior side, but if you come for a job and I know you are a warrior, there's a possibility I might not hire you because there are some days that you will not be able to come to work and I need you to be at work.
I'm sure Judith has something to say, but
I know.
I can see her.
They always attack me.
You're one of them.
They always attack me, but I understand from where the employer is coming from. So saying that there are some jobs warriors should look at very carefully before you apply for.
Okay.
Then also, yes, sometimes we feel like we are not supposed to be limited or hindered. We feel we can do everything.
Yeah.
But then again, as a warrior, know your limits.
Right.
The fact that you can do everything or the fact that you can work in this company or do this and do that does not give you that 100% certainty or right that this employer would employ you.
And you should be able to live with that, right?
Yeah, you should be able to
understand.
You should be able to understand the employer's perspective. You get
that they have a job to protect or goals.
You should understand that. So as a warrior, I feel or suggest that every warrior should either create a job for themselves. That's one.
Okay.
2, look at the positions you apply for. so that when they turn you down, you will not feel dejected or discriminated or stigmatized. So that's how I feel. But warriors do feel that they can do everything.
Judith.
Yeah, they do feel that they can do everything.
Do all things
and
right.
sometimes,
Amen.
and sometimes it's possible for you to work in that company and not break down or not have crisis or not cause the company loss.
Yes.
So when the employer does not employ you, it's fine to be angry. It's fine to feel that way because you know within you that I can do this
capacity.
job. Yeah, I can. But the employer doesn't
not think so.
Believe in your capacity. So sometimes it's a 50-50 thing. Sometimes
I get you.
It gets you upset. Sometimes understand and find better job offers that you know as a warrior
you can handle.
Yes, that you can handle.
Judy, do you have anything to say?
Of course.
They
do. They always have something.
Is that you're staying there for me?
They do.
Oh yeah, let me hear it.
Okay.
Before I come in.
As an oga in this thing, in this advocacy thing,
yes,
I would say he is 80% right.
Okay.
The 20 is I need all of us to understand that no two warriors
are the
same. Yes.
Yeah.
He is speaking on the ground of, I think because he's even masculine, he's a guy. So he's trying to like boss it up as a guy. But then as a lady and as one who has been in this advocacy thing for long and as someone who has spoken to several warriors in Nigeria and around, I would say that he is speaking so because we are in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Why I said this is because in Nigeria, we all know that everything goes. Why won't you give me the job because I am a sickle cell warrior?
I have a condition.
It's not done. Why are you just discriminating me or limiting me just because I have sickle cell? It's not supposed to be so. Abroad, in a more saner climate, we know that they don't do this. Okay, we are termed as, like sickle cell is termed as a disability illness. So as someone who has a disability challenge, in countries like Switzerland, they pay disability benefits, sick leave, what have you. But here in Nigeria, just because I say I'm having sickle cell, you tell me, no, I can't work here, I can't do this. I know my strength limit. For someone who knows that he or she has like frequent crisis, I don't know the kind of jobs that they might want to like apply for, but I think or I feel that they should know, because just like I said, this is Nigeria. That's why, because people are just looking for money to just get so they can put food on their table, to get medication. That's why you would see a warrior going to apply for jobs that are like
they know that could kill them because who doesn't want to save their life? Do you understand? Who wants to truly consistently go through pain?
Yes. But just because we need money to survive, that's why we are even vying or going for jobs that would even stress us. If not, just like he said, and I would like to touch on, just being self-employed is even the best thing to have or to do as a sickle cell warrior. Just have your job. So you know that anytime you wake up in the morning, because there are some days that we don't feel up to it. As sickle cell warriors, 95% of our mornings when we wake up, we're just still back in bed.
Jackie, you're smiling. Is that right?
That's like one of those mornings today.
So you drag yourself here. Well done. Me. I'm grateful. We are grateful you came.
So like we wake up, but then
you're not awake.
We don't want to do anything. We're stressed. We are stressed by just waking up. We're stressed already. Yes, and this is because of our cells. An AS or an AA cell runs 120 days, but then for sickle cell, it's between 10 to 20 days. So our strength, our cell is weak. So we make it up by our by
So that's
taking our
hemoglobin.
water,
That's the
supplements,
red blood cells
medications, yes, to boost everything
generating and
up. So it's because we did Nigeria. Why? If not,
No, man.
and you know, unfortunately, yeah. And this is a good balance because unfortunately, and just like you said earlier, even based on statistics, we have the highest rate of people living with sickle cell
in Nigeria.
Do you understand? So
highest rate,
and that's why at the beginning I say we don't even speak enough about it where it matters, right? Because this is in quotes, is an African in quote disease.
It's a global pandemic,
It
but
is,
then more in
Nigeria, and you have it happen more to Africans actually, even around the world, right? So for that, we don't know why there are different conspiracy theories around it, but none of our business, right? It is what it is. So you will think that we would have different measures, more empathy and consideration, and put in certain structures that make it easier for warriors to cope. You said 150,000 babies are being born with sickle cell.
Every year.
I stressed my husband because my parents were AS, and that's why I had siblings. I saw my siblings. When you're talking about pain, then my mom, because we were in Yola, my father was in Zaria working, my mother. So she goes to work. And when she goes, it's just one car. She's gone to work with the car. And then in the course of the day, my sister has a crisis. I'm talking 18, 19. She was not a baby. My uncle will put her on a bike. He will sit behind her. It was routine. And carry her, and she's wailing. Like, I can tell you the process. Sometimes we'll just go for maybe like a wake-up. In Adamawa State, where my mom is from, we had this, when people pass, you have wake-keepings and stuff. And we had like elders, or our grandmother, our past grandfather, so grandchildren will come. Just the little dancing. It used to be like something fun for us.
But it's
Let her
fun.
just come and shake her body small.
That's it.
It might begin in the village, which is Numan, where we're from, before we get to Yola, where we used to live. And there are times when we would go home and then the moment she just starts, little by little, she's walking around, you just see, oh God, please. Okay. No. I can remember. These memories have stuck. And before you know it, she's wailing.
Like a child.
And my uncle will come carry her, wailing. Sit on a bike. All of us are outside. Carry her, hold her to the hospital. This was routine. So, just so these tears can go back. When it was time to marry, I told my husband, check your genotype. I think he checked almost like 3 times. Because I said, it ain't gonna happen.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Repeat. Yes.
It won't make sense. Love doesn't have the power. Yes. I'm sorry, love is powerful.
But
love for
is
me,
not enough.
No. And that's something we need to hit on.
Yes.
I needed to be sure because I'm AS. I'm a carrier. So I needed to be sure that he was AA. That was the only way. Before love go far. And there's something so profound that a friend of mine told me. She said, we were talking, this was even before marriage and I was serving at the time. And we're talking about genotype, sickle cell. And she said, we're saying a lot of people get into marriage and they're hoping for a miracle. And she said something I'll never forget. I was not married then. She said, the miracle you're believing God for when you get married, believe him for it before you marry. It's the same miracle now. But pray for the miracle before you get married, not after you have gotten married. And then you bring children into the world. And I wanted us to pause there, but you needed to finish. The place of, so we're speaking relationships now, but let's begin from parents. I remember that Judith made a post one time, how, talking about the selfish, I don't remember the words, but I know you remember that post, where she says the selfishness, of the parents to bring, she probably was going through a crisis when she typed that thing. Because you could feel the pain of just the mistakes or decisions of parents and how they bring, warriors to the place that it brings them for something they know nothing about. And I remember I commented, I said, actually, I won't say, what was it, selfishness? I'll say the ignorance of what she responded to. You could feel the energy. I just sent her love and kisses because I can never totally understand what brings you to the place, what pain you go through for something you have no knowledge, nothing to do with, And so let's speak about the parents, Judith. Let's speak about our parents. When it comes to this one, I can relate because my parents we've also had to deal with. What do you think? And now we are the parents, by the way.
Yes, we are.
So we can speak about the pains that our parents have caused us in their ignorance because they've also dealt. My parents lost 3 children. I don't think there's any pain that can compare to the pain of losing a child. They lost 3. So even if they selfishly got into love, it is something that has cost them. Yeah. And my parents were not uneducated. They probably weren't aware about this genotype thing, or they too decided that somehow it would change. I don't know what their history is. I'd never asked the questions. But my parents, literally, my mom passed a professor. My dad is a prof in his... and he had foreign exposure. Yeah. So you would think that, they should know better, But love can love, I guess. I don't even know, honestly. I don't know where to place it. But love should not be loving.
It should not be loving. Love should
it's
not
costly.
Love.
It's money consuming. My sister was consistently at the hospital. Maybe as a child, it seemed like more times than it was. Maybe it wasn't as often as it appears to me, but I remember her consistently being at the hospital. So you're spending, you two don't have freedom. Not be saying only them.
Yes.
And then eventually, in the case of having to lose them, you have the pain of grief and loss. So, Judith, warriors, you are in the best position to speak to the parents that will be, because those ones, nothing they can do about it at this point. So
the ones that are allowing love to love.
Yes. Talk to your peers.
The ones that are allowing love to love.
And my peers too, actually, yes. What do you think when it comes to relationships and the role it plays in this?
Okay. To the parents that we've seen and to the parents that we are going to become, I would say that first off, love is not enough. That is it. If you know this, I think you'll be able to work in that consciousness that I would not allow love to lead me blindly, because our parents have already made that mistake already. But we shouldn't do that, because I'm having to see in this 21st century, I'm having to see AS and AS still coming together.
It's still happening.
Maybe they do not know how it is like to live with pain.
Right.
Or they want it to happen to them firsthand, so they will now experience it and know that, this is what I have gotten myself into. But then again, we now have technologies, and I'm so happy that over the years, we're having a lot of technologies that are coming to stay, which I am so proud of. But before then, because even these technologies doesn't come cheap.
Right.
It doesn't. And then mentally, psychologically, it takes a great toll on the individual.
Right.
But before you delve into that, you as a person, you should know that love is not enough, because no child deserves sickle cell pain. No child, trust me. Because how would you live each day of your life in pain? You wake up, you're just uncertain about how your day is going to span out. You don't know what would happen the next minute, because this minute you're fine, the next minute you're not.
It's unpredictable.
It's unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Watch my sister go through
Very
excruciating pain, and now this is my own life. I'm having to go through pain from 6 months till now. It's just a whole lot, right? So the parents that are watching this, please know that your child is not, you already made that mistake, but your child is not that mistake. I'm having to also see that parents do not also know how to cater for their children.
Very important.
There
Who are already
so many
sicklers.
things,
Is that
there's
it?
so many
Yes.
things that I feel that I can educate mothers and fathers on, because in my own case, I lost my mom when I was 10, but then I had a dad that wasn't present. But even when he was present, he didn't even know much.
What to do.
He didn't know what to do. So I was the one telling him, okay, this is what mommy used to do for me. This is how she doesn't do this, she does that. So he's now learning, but then it is not enough, because and there's so many things that I just decided that I wasn't gonna let him know, because even when I started my menstruation as a teen girl,
yes,
I wanted to discuss some certain things to, if I had a mother,
right,
I would have, because it came with a lot of pains for me, even while I was growing up, like having pubic hairs and then developing breasts and all that.
So
yes,
aside the regular pain, because we all experience pain with this stuff.
And then it's more because I am, I had sickle cell. So if I had a mother, I would have told her. But of course, I not that I wasn't close to my dad, but you know that shy.
There were things you couldn't talk about.
There were things I couldn't tell him. So I would say that for parents watching this, please pay more attention on your sickle cell child, because that child is going through double. As a teenager, you know you're going to experience this phase, and then this phase comes with pain. Right. But it also doubles because this child has sickle cell. So there are a lot of pains that this child is going to experience. So you should pay much attention to that child. And then we as sickle cell warriors, we are actually the children that are called Abiku in Yoruba or Ogbanje in the normal
term
in
that we are used to
Nigeria
now.
term.
Yes.
Like they say, this child, you are an Ogbanje.
Igbo.
We are actually those children. It's not the witches.
That you're usually sickly.
Yes, we are always sickly and then we die. So we are actually those children. So parents that are watching this, they actually know what I'm talking about. That in the olden days, you find out that a woman is giving birth, that child is dying, and that child is dying, that child is dying. That child actually has sickle cell.
So let me put a pause to it. Just to add, you know, when you watch was it the Madame Koi Koi? I've forgotten. Is it the Chronicles or Madame? I can't remember how they termed it, but I know it's Madame Koi Koi.
Yes.
On Netflix. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Where they actually, the Madame Koi Koi herself.
Dada,
yes.
Yes.
This initial spirit based on that story, and I'm glad that they touched on it. Based on that story.
Yes.
The spirit that eventually possessed the body of the Omami Dada, who was Madame Koi Koi.
Yes.
Had children that were dying.
Yes.
And so they termed her a witch and hung her in the evil forest. And so her spirit rose in vengeance. And it was hovering in the evil forest until somebody, was murdered in the forest, and then it possessed that body and started hunting wicked people, pretty much. But they say they realized after a while, because this was way back in the maybe like 60s, for example. I'm not sure what year it was. But with the advent of technology and more knowledge, and exposure, they realized what her kids had was sickle cell anemia.
Yes.
But they termed her a witch and killed her for it. And art imitates life. So even though it might just seem like some story that was just cooked up, these are things that could be a real thing.
Yes. Where
people are facing consequences for things they are so innocent about just because they don't know, lack of knowledge. Let's move, because now we have to begin to round up. I mean, there's so much I still want to touch on, but
to unpack.
What are the traits? And this is a very important conversation. This is JK is already smiling. We're coming for you. These traits that warriors have, that they may think that is just them, or maybe they do them for village. They don't know what they happen, but they do not understand that other warriors experience it. Let's talk about that.
Okay, one of it is Pika.
Pika.
Yes.
It's interesting that you picked on that one first.
Yes, Pika is simply or basically an unusual craving for things that are not food. So a warrior can have Pika of eating clay.
Mm-hmm.
A warrior can have Pika of eating soap.
Mm-hmm. It's the eye for me. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Bombastic
Keep going.
side eye.
Keep going. Keep going.
A warrior can also have cravings for eating dust, cement.
Wow.
In my own case,
Some are
Cement.
warrior,
Yeah,
yes,
some are foam too.
foam,
Like
chalk.
mattress.
Yes,
Like you start eating.
yes, the foam on this sofa and this couch.
Why?
Just tear it off.
What are
Just
you
like
feeling?
I said, it's
Yes, like what's
unusual.
going on within? What appetite is triggering?
I do
Yeah,
not know.
but and it has a name. It's called pica. So
It's called pica,
It's a
yes.
thing that exists
In
across
sickle cell, yes.
a couple of people.
Yes. And it's statistically proven that 80% of sickle cell warriors have pica.
80%.
They experience pica during adolescent
Yeah.
while growing up, right?
Yes.
That's adolescent.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
some of them have it when they are much older.
Ah.
20% have it when they are much older. So if you don't do it as a child,
You do it as an
you do
adult.
it as an adult.
So
And it's
just in
very
case
bad
they are
as an
warriors.
adult. So it's even better for you to
Because
do
an
it
adult,
as
you go and be looking for soap to eat. You think something is wrong with you.
Exactly.
When you start craving soap.
Boils down to that fact that where they have that ignorance and they now start calling us a banji.
Exactly.
So you see,
Because to seem like what is you don't they colo? Wait till
This
they
guy-
met. You want to eat foam. I'll enter your room, foam. You don't chop foam. Is everything all right?
like
It's
I
not right.
literally dug as if I was digging a well. I literally dug the walls of our room while we were back then in where we're living. Like I
Are you
dug the
serious?
wall. Like, and this is not
Eating
our
cement.
own personal house. Yes,
Hey God.
it's a landlord house. I did it. Sorry.
Sorry, landlord. So what are the other symptoms?
Okay, the next one is what we call nocturnal enuresis. This is simply bedwetting. Yes. So just like I said, for pica,
You're gonna
if you
trigger
don't
me
do
again.
it, if you don't do it as a child, you will do it as an adult. And like I always say, it is even better as a child because people will not take it much seriously because you're a child. They'll say, "Na small bikini be." But then as an adult, bedwetting or having pica cravings, this is...
Is this something you openly talk about now? Your own experience?
Yes, I can talk about it
You can?
because, yes, because... of
Please.
course.
Because now I know what it is.
Yes, yes.
Before I could not tell someone that I lick soap.
like
Like how would you
lick soap.
look at
Do you
me?
still do
Wow,
it?
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
sometimes. that's the funniest part. Sometimes. And
You still crave it till now.
It's a very strong craving that
You can't.
He can't
Shake it
you know
off.
Yeah, he
when, do you know when people who are addicted to something
cracks.
are trying
Cocaine,
to be clean,
Yes.
Mhm.
and then someone walks past with
That
crack
thing,
or,
yes,
or
yes.
cocaine, and you scratch your head. And you're like,
Yeah, is a trigger. That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
so sometimes when I am washing or when I'm bathing and I perceive the soap and I look at it. When I was little,
my
my
God.
mom, if she was washing my clothes, she would see like
chunks
little
of,
bar soaps in my
chunks of
pockets.
soap in his
Like I
pockets.
take it to
Yes.
school.
Wow, snack.
Yeah.
Bro.
Exactly.
Sometimes when I just
That's
crave
it.
for it, I'll just put mine in my pocket, just break small.
Ew.
Silly like sleep.
And little
right
wonder
now-
why he is not dead. Like,
Do you
Make
get
it
it?
make
we are
sense.
superheroes.
So
God
right now,
is
sometimes when I just have
amazing.
that craving, it's like I run away from soap.
You just avoid. It's not like you can look
Yeah.
at it and say you resist it. No.
Mm.
Wow.
There's no resisting.
It is what it
Either
is.
you leak or you just some
Or
days
you
you
run.
just shy away from it. Like I'm not in the mood.
Oh, that's so interesting. So bedwetting.
Yes, bedwetting. No, this is something that I wish that having sickle cell, I never had it because it's embarrassing having to bedwet all through as a child, and then it followed me even when I got to higher institution. It's no, like you people's influencer is bedwetting.
My God. My
But
God.
then it is what it is.
It
having
do you
sickle
get and
cell,
it
yeah.
that is it comes with
Yeah.
And
living
then
as a warrior.
I could remember that while others are sleeping, because the times that I was like, oh no, I don't want to bedwet, right? I want to stop it. And it's not because maybe I am drinking water during the night.
It's just your body.
It's just that thing, my bladder and all that. So I remember vividly that there was one time that I started keeping vigil, like I won't sleep. While others are sleeping, I will just stay awake because I want to watch the time that I would bedwet, but then you can't even keep up because you would sleep. Sleep is nature,
sleep
right?
is sleep,
Yeah,
yes.
so you would sleep, and then once you wake up, you know that you will see that I will see that I've
It's done.
wet the bed, and I would quickly change my clothes, change the bed sheet, or I'll plug the iron and then try to iron it.
Oh my goodness.
Put fragrance everywhere so it wouldn't smell, but then I didn't know.
So talking about bedwetting as one of the traits that people who live with sickle cell experience, I don't know if it's all or some, let me not ask
80%.
JK. Yeah. But I know that you shared with me, and it's important that we're having this conversation particularly because I believe that there are a couple of people who experience this and are wondering why. They do not understand that it comes with the condition that they have. Yeah. They just feel like, you just the bedwet, you know? Mm-hmm. I remember when you told me this, when we had a conversation off air a few weeks ago, and you mentioned bedwetting. It's interesting that I saw my older sister, that's the one who I said passed at 10, still bedwet. When I had gotten over, I'd grown up at, was it 4 or 6, like I said. And I was kind of curious, but it wasn't a family problem. I know, and I remember telling you, she had her own mattress. Like everywhere we moved, because we're in Zaria, we moved to Yola, she had her own little mattress because she was consistently bedwetting. And just having that conversation just gave me, would I say, like some form of closure that I did not know that I needed. I'm telling you, I got emotional. I was almost cried uncontrollably. Yes. I'm just like, oh my God. So this was why. This was why. I've told you about a certain friend too. We've not had that conversation, but I suspect that, this could be why. So you see, there are a couple of people that experience this. And I'm not saying that everybody who experiences it is sickle cell, is anemic. Yeah. But it's possible that most of the people who have this, who say it is village people or something that was done spiritually, actually do experience it because they don't have this knowledge or because of this condition, but they do not know. So let's talk about it a little and talk about the other, because there are other traits as well. Yes. We've spoken about pica.
Yes.
And then what's the term for it?
Nocturnal enuresis.
Nocturnal
enuresis.
Enuresis.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, let's go on.
Okay. Nocturnal enuresis, which is simply bedwetting, is one of the traits of having sickle cell. Now, people do not know that even they themselves, that's warriors who are sickle cell, right? They themselves don't even know that this is one of the traits of having it. Because just as I mentioned earlier, if you don't experience it while growing up, you're going to experience it as an adult. So it's even best to experience it as a child.
So sometimes it won't present from childhood.
It will never
until much later.
Yes, until much later.
And this applies to the other traits like pica and the rest.
Yes. And then they themselves, they do not know that they have this because they'll try or they will do all they can. Just using myself as a case study, right. It's not my water intake that would cause it, so to say, but it is our system because our cells are sickle. So a lot of things tend to go bad. Let me just put it that way. Like we are always short of supplies. Yes. So we as a powerhouse, you're always running short of power of supply or out of supply. So that is why you're having the traits. And it's normal. Do not
demonize it.
Yes. Do not what's the word now? Like, don't take it too hard on yourself. It is normal as a sickle cell warrior for you to have nocturnal enuresis, which is bedwetting. And then for our parents who see these things,
important,
but they tend to like maybe beat us.
You just think it's the child
They think
that
it's
is refusing
to
grow
they
up.
Beat us and all that. or they tend to like separate us from our other siblings. I kind of understand that you do not want your other siblings to be, while they are asleep, to get wet with the urine. But I feel that as
that does
a
something to
child,
the mind.
yes, as a child, if your parents tend to do that to you, it's dehumanizing, first off.
Right.
And then it gives you that, I don't know, most warriors who have that or who experience that form of, should I call it an abuse? It's not an abuse, so to say, but it is, because you're letting them know that
they're different.
They are different. As a child, you've already let them know that you're not supposed to sleep with your siblings at night because you're going to bed wet, you're going to make them all wet and all that. So you take this corner or take this position. It takes a great toll on them.
Because that's how the child can see it, even though that's not what the parent means.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a mother, so sometimes you don't, it might be easier said if you're not in the shoe of a parent. But I also understand because you speak from the perspective of the child. Yes, so exactly.
That's what happened to me. And I started seeing myself less. I started seeing myself as if I'm not even wanted or part of the family. And this can cause, it can cause a great...
Of course.
It
can affect your self-esteem.
Yes, my self-esteem, everything.
Yes,
as a child,
worth
I
and value.
suffered from low self-esteem. Yes, as a child. And then I was seeing myself that, because I'm not like you guys.
So I am different. It makes it clear.
Why they treat me this way.
Like you're less.
But I didn't even know that this was a trait, having sickle cell. Now that's the thing.
Yes. So I feel like it's very important, again, that this conversation is not just for warriors or just anybody. It's also very important for parents of warriors, because imagine that your parents educated you. Maybe they even still gave you your own special bed, but you had the education for them to understand if they had known.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And maybe that's what parents need to do to their kids. If you're going to separate a child, because the truth is, you can't also take away that there's a difference. It's the way that you would say the reality is you can't do everything. Yes. It's important to have that in mind. So you can make the child understand. You're special. Actually, there's a way that you say these things that it to seem like it's even more a strength, a privilege.
For them, exactly.
More a privilege than it is not. Yes. That's why your siblings are fighting over bed. You have your own special mattress.
Exactly.
So it's the educate. I feel like that's a gap that is missing for you to be able to say, this is why you're special. We'll have to treat you specially based on the level of understanding of the child. Of course, as they go, you can tell them you have sickle cell. These are some of the traits that come with, just in case you're wondering why my bedwetting, the others are not, am I still a baby, blah, blah, blah. You can say, no, it's your condition. This is how to, but it can be managed. I'm very big on hope, and I'm sure that's why you have Judith or you sharing about your journey and making people understand. See, you fine girl, with steez and composure.
Thank you.
Changing the world, doing the things that you're doing. They show for they smell for, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing you've been through or you're even dealing with now that can show in what it means. You can have a wholesome life regardless of the challenges that you may face. And in this case in point, like having to have the nocturnal, that word I can't know.
Nocturnal
enuresis, like having to have that. So just know it's something that happens to you, but it doesn't make you any less than anything. Let's move over to other traits or conditions or
the next
experiences.
Trait would be insomnia. 95% of sickle cell warriors have insomnia. We don't sleep at night.
You don't sleep?
We're at night owls.
Are you serious?
Sometimes I sleep.
We tend to sleep during daybreak. So it's normal.
If I go by that one far, if that's the only trait that they'll use to say, okay, this one, you have sign that you could be,
there was a point in my life where for months, it was very, very obvious that I was not sleeping in the night.
For real?
Not that I was doing anything. No.
You just be awake.
Yes.
I was just awake. And it started, maybe you start from 12 till 5. I'll be awake. Then from 5, I'll start sleeping.
Yes, that's it. That's our time.
Wow.
Just like that for no reason.
What's going on in your body that is doing that? That's when you're.
I do not know.
But recovery is in the okay. the doctors and the medics
That's how
next
we're
time.
wired.
That's
how we're
quite
wired. I would say so.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then
That's
the next
quite
thing would
interesting.
be anger.
Oh, you're easily pent up.
Yes.
JK is thinking.
Mm,
You might
yeah.
not know. If we ask your people around you now, they will let us know.
They will not let
this
you.
can be likened. While he's indifferent about this, the next one will be anger.
Yes.
And this is usually because of the amount of opioids we consume as sickle cell warriors. Yes.
So
'cause
medication.
medication
Oh.
is a great cause a great pose for this factor because it's usually more as an adult, not as a child. Now, the other factors is even better as a child, but not in
As an
adulthood.
adult,
But then this
yes.
one is not, it doesn't even happen as a child, but it happens as an adult. You're always agitated, you're always cranky.
So
Like
people
your
have got to
body
know
is-
this to
yes.
bear with warriors who are dealing,
To
because
bear with us.
it's
yes.
not just that you're an angry person.
Yeah.
Is that
It's
what
not-
you're
yes,
what you're
it's
taking?
because
Is,
of our opioids.
wow.
Yes.
What else? Is there any other thing?
I would just say is the similarity. The next one would be like similarities in pain, like our pain threshold. Yes. So if JK says he has a crisis now, I can actually relate because I am a sickle cell warrior. I
You
know
know
what
exactly
he's
what
talking
he's talking
about,
Yes.
but I do not understand because in my own case, I've had a surgery. I had what we call avascular necrosis. JK doesn't know shit about it because he doesn't have it, right? So he can understand the kind of pain I'm talking about, but since he hasn't experienced it, he doesn't know what I am saying. So that's it.
So you can have
similarities-
different pains
different pains
on different thresholds.
Yes, we understand it, but
you can't fully understand it.
exactly. So that's it.
Another thing I'll tell you I've noticed about warriors is their eyes are similar. This, I don't know whether it's the bulgy. I'm not even saying the yellowish color.
Yeah.
Because for my sister,
I think that should be like our appearance.
yes, that's a physical appearance thing.
Physical appearance thing.
For her, her eyes were yellow sometimes
like
they weren't.
jaundice.
Yes, like they were jaundiced.
Yes.
Sometimes they were normal, but it's just this bulgy.
Yes, and
look,
even the stomach
then
being
your
protruded.
yes. Funny for the stomach, I didn't even know.
It's actually one of
yes.
the
I only
bodily
realized it
appearance.
recently.
It
I
is.
didn't, and then now I look back and I'm like, oh, there were people who didn't tell me. So by
And
this
then even
traits,
the teeth.
oh really?
Yes, the teeth, the eyes, the stomach, and then the limbs.
Really? Limbs? How do the
Yes.
limbs look?
Like squeaky,
Shriveled?
Like, yeah.
Not very firm like
Yes,
others. Oh
yes,
really? So I know about the eyes. For the stomach, I only knew like a few years ago. And then for these other things you've shared. So that's why now I can tell I've come across a couple of other warriors that never said they were warriors. But by the traits,
You can tell.
I know, this person was a warrior. They just never said it.
That's how my mom always catch them. She will look at that person's a warrior.
And then she's right.
She's experienced.
Yeah.
And for you, I'm thinking, maybe your parents just realized, are you the first or second?
First.
He's the first, yeah.
So maybe just say, you know what, these two were okay. Even if you want more children.
They're
Maybe
fine.
not like my parents that did seven.
Seven,
So I mean,
and
they
then
gave
3.
room and then they had
Nah.
3. Would I say lucky them? They actually, at this point, that it wasn't more than 3.
Yeah.
And one thing I say is, I didn't choose to be AS. I didn't choose to not have sickle cell. So I can only be grateful that I don't have to experience what someone who has sickle cell is dealing with. And I also do not, like, I don't talk about, I'm careful not to talk about it like it's of course it can be termed a disability, but you can live with a disability and live a full life.
Yeah, sure.
Normal life.
Full life. So
Yes.
I don't talk about it like it's a downside or something that is negative or it is what it is.
Exactly.
Right? But I believe that because part of the questions I was even going to ask is, do you sometimes get upset with God? Like, God, why would you let this happen to me? When you were saying that you're grateful to God, God helps you. I'm like, what? Do you ever feel like, God, why me? Why did it have to be me? You know?
Honestly, I've not had to take it on
And
God.
that's amazing.
I've had to take it up on my parents.
Yeah, because we have decisions to make, my sister.
Yes,
Not everything
because
can be laid on God.
This was like a blank check thrown to them. They would have choose to continue. They would have choose
I
not
hope you
to.
forgive them, Sha.
I have, and then
But it's not easy.
I want other warriors who are watching this to also forgive their parents. It's not their fault that you're here because they have done it, but you're here. So it's now time for you to live your best life having sickle cell. Sickle cell is not the end of the world. There are also many other chronic illnesses. Sickle cell just happens to be one of the chronic illnesses in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be grateful to God that you're still alive. And it's just for the world to like find you, hear your voice. And that's why I and JK were here at least.
That's right.
Because we're amplifying our voices.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not the only sickle cell warrior in the world.
Yeah.
And so is JK. He's not. But then we are basically here to like amplify our voices.
Yes.
Let other warriors know that they have us.
Mm-hmm.
So if they ever feel down, if they ever feel lonely, they can always reach us.
That's amazing. At this point, we take final words. That sounds like final words, by the way, but just in case you have more to say, you should, JK, any final things? This conversation cannot end.
But final words should be like she said, the warriors should forgive their parents. I, on my part, I've never
held it against them.
Held it against them.
That's beautiful.
I've never thought of it that way. I just leave. I look at it as they were ignorant.
That's a good thing.
And I leave it like that. So the fact that they were ignorant, we know better today. We should do better.
Exactly.
And another thing I should want to speak about is the fact that we take this religion thing to another level when it comes to sickle cell.
Yes. Tell me about it.
Do not get married. Then you carry your partner with the hope that God
is going to change it.
And the people that are supposed to tell you do not do this will tell you that go ahead.
Faith.
Even heaven helps those who help themselves.
Your pastors will
so
tell you,
why
go
are you
ahead.
trying? I feel they are trying God by doing that. Yeah, I feel so.
I see your point.
I see your point. Miracle will happen.
Miracle happens.
Don't worry, you will not give birth to SS.
That's quite ignorant, yes.
That's why
because it's still happening.
That's why there's a lot in Nigeria. It will happen.
That's
it's
why
the system of life.
Highest rate every year.
So,
and that's a good question to ask because it's like saying, why do we? We're not really Africans.
Exactly.
So why does Nigeria have the highest rate?
The white people brought this
and it's possible that and it's possible that truly because we've decided to sit in our ignorance or decided to think that we have knowledge and that religion might indeed, because you are living with it, you know better. But that we've decided to sit in ignorance or take on religion that so far has not even given us results. I know that some people have testimonies. I'm not saying, but sometimes your testimony might just be an expression of God's mercy that you enjoy.
Yes.
That some people might not enjoy. Not like they don't have mercy in the other areas, but it might not be in that area. So if you've had a very good friend of mine, she said, when she was pregnant, but she's married to AS. I'm sure when she watches this, she'll know at least what I'm talking about. She's AS. Her husband is AS. She said when she was pregnant with whether her first or second, she was scared. I think it was her second. I don't know which one. When they gave birth and she realized that her daughter, her son, one of her kids, was not a carrier. I think it was her second child. She said, no more.
And then what
do mean? What did they say? You don't do. Thank you. Don't do sue me. She says it's done. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe your parents realized, and that's what from our conversation. She says it's done. She's not going to have how many times you want to go through?
That's
anxiety
how
throughout.
How many times do you want to try God?
How many times do you want to try God?
Yes. How many times do you want to try God?
And then bring something that you regret because you can see that child suffering, and because you have because you knew your guilt is more. Because you knew you could avoid it. You were more knowledgeable. You're not like your parents. Your guilt is more. And then you watch a child suffering and you can do absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to say.
Yeah,
I probably
and
don't remember.
it's so annoying because the level of ignorance these days is alarming.
Honestly.
You feel they're supposed to know about these things. We create awareness, obviously, but
Exactly.
there are some people who are
Have
just out there
chosen.
till today and be like, I don't know my genotype and I don't want to know. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change
People's
that type
minds.
of people.
Yeah.
And it will still happen. Then there are the ones that take religion to another extreme and be like,
And
my
unfortunately,
pastor says it can work, so let's go.
And we're very religious.
So
this was supposed to be your final words, so we don't
Yeah,
start conversation
these
again.
These are my final words. These things happen, but we're saying, please, you know better now. So try and do better.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And for warriors out there, leave.
Just leave.
Just leave.
Enjoy life.
Why soak up in all that sadness and depression? Find a way to leave. It has happened. So just
and
go
it is
through
possible
life.
to live a beautiful, joyful life still, regardless of what has happened.
Of course.
That's amazing. Sweetheart, you don't talk, but any other thing? Or we're good?
We're good to go, but just final parting word would also be just leave. Dear Sickle Cell Warrior, I see you. I feel your pain. But just know that regardless of the pain, regardless of what life throws at you, workplace, society, even in relationship, because we've had it big in that, I know. Just leave. Regardless, just leave.
Thank you. I was going to say that's something we've not touched on. But how far with love? Has it affected your love life?
A lot.
Hi. Jakey, how far? I think it's better for the men.
Yes, it's better for
in
the
this
men.
regard.
Yes.
It's more easier.
Kai.
It's more easier.
Topic for another day.
Topic for another day.
Because at this point,
topic for another day.
Yes.
Otilo, thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you for having us.
And I pray it makes the impact that it should make.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Please share this with all the warriors that you know. Look forward to our next episode on The Balance. You know, this is where we talk about life from our different perspectives, as we have done today. And share your thoughts regarding it. Leave us comments. Give us topics, if you will, things you would love to see us talk about or be part of, to be honest. If you have a video comment regarding this or you're a warrior, please leave us a video, okay? Just be part of this. This is our conversation, and it's not just for us who are in the studio. Do well to follow our YouTube channel. If you're watching this, please, and you have finished it, make sure that you subscribe and that you stay as part of the community and part of the family. We'll see you on the next one. Ambassador Jessie here, signing out.
Bye.
Much love.